Hello and welcome to the Oliveboard platform. My name is Antara Ma'am, and in this particular session we are going to discuss about the SSC CGL 2026, how you can approach the trend analysis of how the questions had been in the past years, and the most recent paper being Mains 2025. We are going to focus on that as well. We are going to do an analysis of how the questions were asked and how you can prepare accordingly. So, first of all, coming to how to bring down the huge and scattered GS syllabus into something which you can call as syllabus completion. So when we say that first go ahead with the syllabus completion, that means first complete the basics. Okay, if I have to mention the subjects, say for example, high cost benefit is there in terms of history, geography, polity, science, Indian economy part, and current affairs. But are the questions being asked directly from what you study in these segments, or are there of more from the statics? So it's not like they give you just random questions. We will see the analysis also in some time. You will see that if there are, say, history questions, if you are studying the subject, you need to study with precision. You need to study dedicatedly and not just, one-liners or the facts are going to help anymore. Of course, in the first go, you can just do the completion and you can go through a brief overview. But as you will study more of the syllabus, as you will gain more in-depth knowledge and you will practice more questions, it will help you to understand that you need to keep on enriching, you need to keep on enhancing. So for all the subjects, it is best if you do the complete syllabus preparation in the first go. If we talk about the history part, then you are not just studying, okay, modern, I will study and leave ancient and medieval. The thing is, if you want to study and if you want to gain the marks in this segment, then you have to do the complete study, and then you can focus on important rulers, important changes they had made. For example, in the mains, there was a question from the reforms made by Alauddin Khilji. Was this an out of the box question, or we know that in ancient, during the period of Buddhism and then later during the period of Ashoka, there are questions. Then we know during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, there are questions from what were the things happening. Then during the time of Alauddin Khilji, we know if you are studying SKTSL, so in that sequence also you can relate that they are asking questions from here Alauddin Khilji, then Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and after that what reforms happened during this period in the entire medieval, this becomes very important, right? Then if you see in the time of Akbar again, when you study the time period of Akbar, again they will ask questions from what reforms happen, like if there is Dini Illahi, that one question which is very commonly asked. So they are asking from the time period of Akbar. And even before that, during the time period of Sher Shah Suri, they are asking questions during that period. So one, you do the syllabus completion, and another, you have to pay attention to the important things and the reforms that they are asking questions. Similarly, if you will look into the trend of how the questions are set, you will by default notice that these are important. And while, say, taking the syllabus completion also, we are focusing on the important topics, right? Coming to geography, when I say, okay, you have to study climate very nicely, that is from understanding. And if you have to study, say, the Western disturbances, there are always questions from that part. You have to study that, but also you cannot forget that, say, in case of Indian geography, there are always questions based on the Himalayas, right? The important passes, Jozila, Nathula, Zelepla. There are questions from Western Ghats. There are questions from Eastern Ghats. There are questions from important mountain ranges, the passes, right? So it was an expected question, and that was there in the mains, right? Similarly, if you look into the polity, if you are connecting the current affairs here, I always pay attention to this. You must pay attention to the current affairs when you are studying polity. One, the static you will complete. Along with that, was BNS not in news completely? Plus, if you will notice that the fines which were being imposed for not wearing helmets, and similarly that entire act was in news. So if there is a question from hit and run, it should not be okay. It should not be like random, and one, you complete the basic and update your current affairs segment along with it. Coming to the science part, very recently we have seen that it has comparatively gone down. But that doesn't mean that you will not do the basic syllabus completion. Why? Because repeatedly you can see that again another year the focus may change, the focus may be more, right? So in syllabus completion, do not skip anything as such. Here also, while current affairs topics are very important, like say for example, in current affairs we know if there is a, you can watch the revision class also. I mentioned there itself that if there is a current affairs which is related to space mission, it is going to be very important. And if there is a current affairs which is going to be first in terms of India, and that too specifically if there is women and first, that means chances are very high. So that you have to take care, and that there were questions from NISA, SphereX, etc. Then the sorry, then the questions from basic, say biology and physics, chemistry, though science part has gone down, but still there were questions. 1991 economic reforms. In economy, you will see they are the evergreen questions, the LPG reforms. Okay, sorry. They are the evergreen questions, the LPG reforms. They will ask questions every time from here. And then the questions from, say, the monetary policy and fiscal policy. Understanding these things completely will always help you to gain marks in this section, and definitely including the current affairs becomes important. Now, the problem is that for the first timers or for the students who are from say science background, engineering background, they initially find that history is very vast, and say geography, polity and economy can be covered in that same very time period, as much time is being, say, given to history. If that is the case for you, and if say your exam is very near, then you can do those topics which you are more interested, or it need not be the sequence of history, geography, polity, science, economy. It can also be the sequence of current affairs if you are more comfortable with that, because again you will get a good number of questions from there, and then you can continue with whatever you find easier, say geography, polity, economy, whatever. And you have to update as of now to get into the final list. You have to update and you have to study history syllabus as well. Even if say if you cannot in the first go study all of it, you do not find interest, then you just take out one time slot from your day and go through the most important ones. For example, if I tell you SKTSL, complete medieval, right? So you can proceed accordingly. Say, okay, what are the most important things I need to learn from the slave dynasty? What are the most important things from Khilji, Tughlaq, Sayyid, Lodi? Like that, you can focus on the most important pointers first and then you can move ahead. But don't stay stuck in one single page. The goal is to keep on moving ahead, keep on completing at least say 1% more syllabus on a daily basis to be able to reach there. Okay, don't stay stuck. If you're not able to study any one of the topics, okay, you will do that later. All right, start something else. Okay, practice some maths and come back, practice some English and come back. Okay, whatever suits you, but don't stay stuck. Syllabus completion is essential. Now, whatever is the high priority subject for you, whatever it is that you can study easily, gives you interest, you can start with that. If it is geography, start with geography. If it is polity, start with policy and do the comprehensive completion. Okay, this is my syllabus, this is what I'm going to study. It's all right. If you want to say add on more based on the MCQs recent to past, based on the practice questions recent to past, you can add on whatever things you find. Okay, stick to whatever source you have picked up. If you have taken say your handwritten notes or a standard book or a class or a PDF, whatever it is, you stick to that source, do multiple practices, do multiple questions, and please ensure that you are giving the mock tests once this, basic comprehensive study or basic syllabus completion is done. For those topics which you find difficult for you, you can or are say decreasing in weight, or you do not find that much interest, you can start with selective study initially, right? Initial stages you can do the selective study and then you can keep on adding pointers or keep on adding to your content. Okay, slowly and gradually you will reach there. So coming to the hot topics as of now. I have told you the orthodox pattern. Now what else can give you the high cost benefit if you don't want to go through basic syllabus completion and step by step, or you do not have that much of time? Then what are the high yield topics where you can directly focus? See, budget you have to do. For that matter, budget and economic survey we cannot separate from each other. Both you have to do, and that does not means like you have to go through each and every liners. Based on how questions are being asked, how you can do the syllabus completion and get the cost benefit, you have to do this topic. Do not miss the government scheme. This is going to help you in all the examinations, all the SSC examinations, as well as say for railway examinations, for whatever examinations you are giving, be it SSC, CGL, CHSL, MTS, everywhere these topics are going to help you. Space and defense technology in current affairs gives special importance. This is also current affairs. This is also from current affairs. And international relations, say for example, give priority to what is on top. Okay, here you can do selective study what is very much in news. For example, BNS and road safety, that was very much in news, right? Coming to the history part, it is not just the you have studied history, that means it, though we write in short, but it will also include the art and culture part. And from art and culture, there are events in current affairs that you keep on seeing, so that you cannot skip. Then at present, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the BNS and the BNSS, so there can be questions. Sports, there are always questions from the most important ones. Again, selective study can be done. An important report, important index, and important books in the current affairs, they are always asking questions from here. Again, you can do selective study, because when we say important, you don't have to go through each and everything and then get scared of it. You will see that always questions are from the top priority events only, the top important events only, right? So now in terms of economy, it has become very important to, not skip and not just focus on history and geography and polity. Current affairs and budget, very important. In terms of geography, the population, settlement, agriculture, landforms, all these are being asked. Space technology and defense exercises, they're asking. International relations and news, which is if there is any law, any changes happen, that they're asking. And agriculture and sports related current affairs, you have to see. Sports, you cannot skip. Now let us look into some examples of how the questions were being asked. How the questions were being asked. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita was in news, and hit and run cases were there in news. Say, that is a constant, right? Some incident or the other incident is always there. So they asked the question from the average knowledge of a graduate that if hit and run case happens, in that case, what is the punishment that will be given? This was the question in Mains 2025. So there is a 10 years of imprisonment and a fine which is given, and this you can select from your options. So this was, if you will like pay little bit of attention to the current affairs, then this was in news anyhow. Then from the static part, if you see, they asked about the elections, and whenever you study the elections, you don't say presidential. Whenever you study the topic president, you don't just study the presidential elections, you also study here that how the governor is appointed, right? In that case only appointment, that's all, right? No elections. And then you are left with the vice president. So what happens then? This one we have already eliminated. Now in the president, how he is appointed we study, but what is the difference if he has to be removed, if there is 61 impeachment? In that case, what will happen? In that case, both elected member and the nominated member of the parliament will participate, right? So like that we see the difference, whereas in the appointment what happens? So wherever these are focused, right, so they can ask a question, and they had asked this basic question about the election of the vice president. Similarly, in polity, we study the list. Okay. In fact, we study the 12 schedules, and it is a very high cost benefit topic. Important articles we study, and important amendments also we study. Specifically after 100, it becomes very important because they are in the latest current affairs. So when we are studying the important lists, there we study about the union list, state list, and the concurrent list. So, and in the salient features of the Constitution, we study that what are the salient features. We study that we are federal or unitary. We are a strong union. Federal, but which kind of we can say pseudo federal, we can say false federal, we can say quasi federal, or there is a strong union, strong center. So what will happen if there is a conflict between the union law and the state law? What happens during the time period of emergency? When there is emergency, in that case what happens? So all these exceptions we pay attention on, and there was a question from the exceptions only, right? Is there a possibility that the state law, if there is a state law, and can the union law prevail in place of state law? So what are the cases? So they have asked a question from this one. Then when we study history, we know that modern India is important, or from that part we get questions. So there we study anyhow subsidiary alliance, and then later on we study Dalhouse's doctrine of lapse, right? This anyhow you study. So in this they had asked about the subsidiary alliance. Now, whenever you are studying this, as I told you, precision is very important. You should know what all the things were there, even if it is like, okay, you will have the army, and in a subsidiary alliance, you will have to say, okay, you don't have to keep your own army. We will provide you with the army. But if there is any, say, maladministration on that ground also, we can, start the charges. So the British falsely promised not to interfere initially, but then what happens? That is only the promise, and later on there will be interference. And later on, even on the grounds of say maladministration. How do you decide that? Who decides that? On what ground it is decided? They will, take this away. Then there are questions, okay, who first signed this? Then by doctrine of lapse, which place first lapse? So it is not Jhansi. What is it? Is it Satara? So like that, whatever are the questions based on this, no, they can ask this questions. So here also similar question they had asked. Then coming to the important market reforms, they had asked a question from Alauddin Khilji's market reforms, right? So when we study the market reforms, we study that, okay, these are the 4 markets, and the one is for the grains, one is for the clothes, one is for the horses, like that we study, right? And then the common one. So they can ask from their market officers, there has been questions. So these are important focus points, and they have asked from there only. What the important focus point from history. Coming to the art and culture part. In the art and culture, we do study temple architecture. There is a Nagara style, North India, Dravida style, South India, and Vesara style in central region. Though there are other styles, but in the SSC examination, we focus on these 3 styles, right? And what is the most important thing that you study? Point number 1 is only about the Shikharas and the Panchayatan style. So from this point number 1 itself, if there is a question, then we cannot say that they have gone too much in depth or too much in detail for this type of question. So whenever the topic will be, say, little bit ahead, like say for example, they asked about BNS, right? The hit and run. So they just asked, okay, what will be the punishment, right? If there is a case of hit and run, what will be the punishment? So whenever it is like that, or the question will be, say, in news, but maybe not everybody is sure as of now, they will give the very easy options, right? So in terms of Dravida, there is the Vimana, the main shrine, and the Gopuram, or the gateways, which are made in a very tall way, and a very elaborate gate style is there. Then coming to the Vesara, this is, say, a hybrid style, and you can see features of both north and southern styles, and it was primarily developed by the Chalukya dynasty. And this was also a question which was asked. It was also in the say mock series as well. We had seen this question, that it is by which dynasty? Chalukya dynasty. Important passes, this is a traditional type of question which is asked, and this time also it was asked about the Jozila pass, about the Shipkila, Nathula, Zilepla. All these are the most common ones. So they have asked from there itself, nothing out of the box. Then important mineral producers, this is also same, the ones which has been asked: limestone since a long time, Rajasthan only, bauxite, Odisha, and then copper, Madhya Pradesh, mica, if there is any change. So mica, previously Rajasthan was there, and now Andhra Pradesh is there, since again it has been time, but they can ask from there. Dugong was in news for a long time, so they have asked about the sea cow, Dugong, the habitat and the highest place, highest population is in Tamil Nadu in the Park Bay. And protected under Schedule 1, highest legal protection, same as that of a tiger, and the IUCN status is your vulnerable. So again, from the current affairs, it is not like it is there in 1 month current affairs just like that. This is like it has been for quite some time. So they have asked you, after it being in news repeatedly, they have asked about this, right? Then about the Nowruz and the equinox. Nowruz being the Persian festival, one question which is asked in history is about who introduced it in India. So that time your answer is Balban. And another, if it is with respect to, is it celebrated on some exact day, or is it celebrated based on the lunar calendar? That is another type of question. Then in the mock, again, last mock itself, we had seen one question regarding that. Then spring equinox, this is from, again, geography also you study equinox. So interlinking the interdisciplinary or more than one subjects, they are asking the question like that also. Again, nothing, say, to worry about, right? Then you have seen there was a question from 1991, that is the LPG reform, new economic policy. This is also common. You will see one question from the in economy from the LPG reform. So nothing new in this as well. Then license Raj and how it was dismantled in the 1956, and that also we see in studying the, say, basic Indian economy itself. Then when we study the topics of, say, three topics very important to understand and to study is your monetary policy, fiscal policy, and budget, and how the questions of, say, GDP, the formulas, then um, gross national product, net national product, and one another very important is your personal income is not the one which actually you are spending. Personal income minus taxes, the disposable personal income. So like that they are asking the questions. And finally, important indexes. It is nothing new to be asked from here. India's rank in, say, Human Development Index, in Passport Index, in Corruption Index, and in Press Freedom Index. These are repeated multiple number of times. So though you can go ahead with spending a lot of time in, okay, all the indexes not to skip, or what you can do is stop, say, 10 index which are asked repeatedly, you can focus on that, and chances are very high that there will be a question from that section. 5-year plan, it has been so much time, but still, even though Niti Aayog questions are given preference, still we have seen question from 1991 reforms, still we have seen question from the 5-year plan, right? And which model, a very small, say, table you have to learn and look at the cost benefit, right? So the question was from, say, 5-year, second 5-year plan, and PC Mahalanobis model. What is the first one known as? What is the second one known as? First one was on agriculture and how we can achieve the food sufficiency. Second one was for rapid industrialization. There was the steel plant of Rourkela, Durgapur, and Bhilai, and that is also, say, for industrialization. Then this question again we had seen in the mock series also. Okay, so nothing new in this, I think, this part. Till, say, 50 everybody can achieve this score. And if you are, say, paying little bit more attention than to 60s, and say, going ahead of that, you need to again not forget that there are other subjects as well, and the goal is not to score full marks in all the subjects. The goal is to achieve the best with the best time investment. Then coming to the space missions, if you talk about Nisar, then this was in current affairs, and it was like obviously expected, it is asked. From the static, you study that Ladakh there is minimum pollution which is there, and that is why the observatory is there. So they have asked a question. This one is from static, this one they had mixed from current affairs, and they had put up the question for your examination, right? In biology, a very common question that why there is muscle cramps, about the anaerobic respiration, about the formation of lactic acid in the muscle. This is very common study, and in the basic syllabus completion, every student from anywhere you read, you will get to learn this, right? For example, economy, from anywhere you read, any source you read, you will find the LPG reforms, you will find the 5-year plan, and you will find, say, the topics of GDP, GNP, NNP, budget, and then your monetary policy and fiscal policy. Now the idea is that you should know that these are the most important topics. Okay, so while studying also repetitively, when you are practicing the mock questions also, or looking at the previous year questions, okay, then also you will realize that these are by default the most important questions. Then you see from the sports section in current affairs, there was question from wrestling and Aman Sherawat. The achievements from Olympics is always there, and it is like evergreen. Then in terms of FIFA World Cup, they asked, this is something which I would say will be a question where you can focus on going ahead. That is about the field, about the rule, about the winning, how it happens. So this is something which you can pay more focus on, because in the previous, in some time, this they were paying less attention to such question. again in the once they used to pay more attention to how many players, what will be the say dimensions, the ball, the rules, the terms that associate which game. Then in between we had seen less such number of question, and now again such kind of questions are coming. Then about the hockey, they had asked whatever is in news in current affairs, they are asking the questions. Art and culture, again, whatever is in news. Say, for example, Booker Prize, Pulitzer Prize, very common question. In other exams here, they had asked about Mark Twain's Adventure of um, Huckleberry Finn. They have asked in other exams about Banu Mushtaq's book Heart Lamp, right? Then there were questions from Rate Samadhi, Tomb of Saint. So these are expected questions. These are anyhow evergreen current affairs. The name of the people will change, the name of the awards will change, the book name will change, but these questions are evergreen current affairs, just like Olympics, just like budget, right? So they asked about cultural icon Bhupen Hazarika and the title Bard of Brahmaputra. Then about the BRICS, there was a question, and famous for creating the contingent reserve arrangement. So that was asked. And about the Gyan Bharat mission, they had asked question, because this was in news since a long time now, India's manuscript heritage, and we want to digitize that. This is not like 1 or 2 months in current affairs. Like just like Dugong, this is also since a long time now, right? So question was expected. So now, if I want to summarize, if you have analyzed the questions, if you go through multiple previous year questions year by year, I'm talking about mains as well as the pre's. Okay, so you cannot go for separate study now. You have to go for one single study as per my suggestion. Yes, but what you can do is, if you find things difficult in the first go, you can go for the basic syllabus completion, and then you can keep on enhancing it. That can be done. So if you look into the traditional topic, though, say if I say the basic history, geography, polity, science, though you can say, okay, marks wise, is it appearing less? But it is very high cost benefit. You know which segments to pay attention. So this is like easy marks. Okay, this is like easy marks. You know which sections to pay attention, and most of the time your answers will be correct as well. Then coming to the current affairs and the hot topics. Based on this, again, say what if there is a current affairs from Olympics, from say important books which are anyhow in news, from important appointments if that is there, or say space related current affairs, defense related current affairs, that will become very important. So you can expect these as anyhow they're say important for your exam. And then whatever is say going in the current affairs for years or for months now, it becomes like the evergreen current affairs. It is being asked for 1 2 year continuously in various examinations. So do not skip that as well. And once you have done the basics properly, you can keep on adding to your knowledge, you can keep on adding to your questions, you can keep on adding to your notes and practice more and more mock test. I think this should help you to get a very good score in the exams. And please do not ignore the fact that you have a high cost benefit from all the subjects to score the maximum marks in your examination. So do not ignore that fact as well. All right. So I think that will be enough for our this class. If this session had benefited you in some way, then do hit the like button. Thank you everyone. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.